Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This week's video is going to be me talking about a plot hole and how I would have handled it and how it could potentially still be fixed. But without further ado, we're just going to jump into it. The plot hole that I'm going to be discussing in this video is the power crystals and how the amount of power crystals fluctuates in the series and how they're used as just like a MacGuffin. You just go and you collect the crystals. They just pop the crystals in, not all the time because some games it's absent, but the crystals are in a lot of Crash games. So I'm going to show the main crystals that we know of. So the first crystal that we ever see is called the Master Crystal. This is the crystal that Cortex finds in the opening to Crash 2, which set off the events of the entire game and the following game, Crash Warped. At the end of Crash 2, the space station is destroyed. Well, yeah, and it's never disclosed what happens to the Master Crystal. It is possible that it just got destroyed in the explosion, but with them being this whole like crazy powerful things that can absorb energy, that's highly unlikely in my opinion. And then we have the quote-unquote slave crystals. There's 25 of these. They're the power crystals. So see, right off the bat in their introduction, they're given two different names. They're the power crystals and they're the slave crystals. So you have the one main master crystal, and then you have the 25 slave crystals. So that's 26 crystals overall. The Master Crystal looks almost identical to the Power Crystals. And then the other main crystal that we did see only appeared in one game. It was called the Big Super Power Crystal. The Super Big Power Crystal. And pretty much it exists for them to go on an adventure to find it. Once you get to the big, I'm just going to call it the Big Power Crystal. Once you get to the Big Power Crystal, you can make any wish you want and it will be granted, and then the crystal disappears. It's not really explained if it disappears forever or if it just goes to a different part of the planet, but it only appeared in one game and people didn't even like the game. It was Crash Boom Bang. So crystals appear after the initial Crash 2, where they were first introduced, and after they're all collected and Cortex is defeated, the following game you need to travel through time in order to get the crystals from their original locations. So they give an explanation as to why you have to recollect the 25 crystals that you've already collected in the previous game. However, some of the crystals are in future levels, which doesn't make much sense that their original placement where Crash originally collects them is in the future. But that's just another plot hole for another video, I guess. So you have the power crystals, the slave crystal, the big super crystal. Then you have to go back in time and collect the power crystals again. And then in Crash Bandicoot, the Wrath of Cortex, you need the power crystals again to seal away the elementals. So you need 25 crystals again to seal away the elementals. Then into Insanity, they're just scattered around. Crash Tag Team Racing, there's tons and tons of them. I think there's over 100. Then moving on to the epilogue of Crash 4, you have the assistants. There's a sale on crystals because there's so many of them. And then moving on to the newest game in the franchise, On the Run, they literally, look it, you can buy 3,250 of them for $100. So there's a literal endless supply of crystals now. That being said, they are called purple crystals in this game instead of power crystals. Whether that was a slip on their part, or they're trying to say that these are different kinds of crystals from the power crystals, I guess it's up to your interpretation until someone blows up their Twitter and asks them about it. But the crystals are very inconsistent throughout the series. So like I was saying, in the Wrath of Cortex, you need to collect 5 crystals per mask to seal them away. There's 4 masks, so that's only 20 crystals. So you're collecting 5 more crystals for no reason. So what I think they should have done in the Wrath of Cortex is gone with just changing the color. Because, as you can see in these action figures, the crystals came in different colors. Cortex had the black crystal. I believe Crash had a green crystal. We have Tawna here, or not Tawna, Coco, my mistake, with a blue crystal, and Komodo Mo with a yellow crystal. So, different colored crystals exist in supplemental things like action figures. Plus, when they were originally designing the game, crystals were going through different color schemes. I believe they thought red was one of the colors they were going to choose. And it just, for the elementals, you could have just renamed the crystals that you were collecting the elemental crystals. You could have collected 5 red ones for Pyro, 5 green ones for Rocco, 5 blue ones for Wawa, 5 white ones for Lolo, and then, because there's still 5 more to collect, you could have had 5 black ones to seal away Uka Uka. Really, all they needed to do was change the name and the colors, and they could have avoided a plot hole, I believe. But when the franchise is passed along from different writers who don't go back and check the lore to the series that they're working on, it could get a little overwhelming for writers to have to look back through 20 games to make sure that they're following the lore. So like I said, so the easy fix would have just been to either name them something different, like what On the Run has done, and they named them purple crystals. So that, or just change the color so they were different kinds of crystals. And then in like the Crash Team Racing crystal missions, you could have just not had, again, they could have been different colored crystals. So pretty much, without continuing on and rambling any further, I've gotten all my points through. I think that this is a pretty big plot hole that not many people seem to be bothered with. I guess that I'm just really crazy about lore and continuity and stuff, so it bothers me more than other people. But that's my first plot hole video. I have about 4 or 5 more that I want to discuss. Give me some feedback. Tell me if you like these plot hole videos as much as you like my my theory videos and my tier videos. And all that said, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.